All right, everyone. A long time ago, a couple of months ago, I revealed that I thought that there were two Confederates within the GOP field, Vivek Ramaswamy and Christie. I speculated based on their campaign style and based on the situation that Vivek Ramaswamy secretly was a plant of the Uniparty, and that Christie secretly, and disclaimer, I never claimed to know whether this was an organized central effort involving the Trump campaign or if it was Christie's own idea, that he was actually secretly in support of Donald Trump, that the TDS, constant badgering with TDS was effectively nothing more than a foil. That Christie was trying to absorb TDS voters from other candidates with viability, which was successful, and that Ramaswamy was seeking to sort of sideswipe Donald Trump by basically making the case that after Indictment Gate specifically, hey, I like Trump, he's this great guy, best president ever, love the shit out of him, vote for me and I'll make sure that he skates on the charges because, he can't get elected. Basically, there was a wink and a nod insinuation. Well, we've got another wink and a nod. A couple of them. Links in the description, first to my repost of Trump's Truth Social about Vivek Ramaswamy the other day. And secondly, to a very, very interesting, and it's actually, if you take that link, it's actually at the exact time that the hot mic moment is mentioned by Trump, literally the other day. So in one 24-hour period, Donald Trump himself appears to be corroborating exactly my opinion. So perhaps this will help people to understand I actually was not full of shit and I do know what I'm talking about with regards to political analysis. All you got to do is look at the linguistics, baby. That's all you had to do. Some people understood what I was getting at, and some people held out, especially with Ramaswamy, because because he doesn't really ever criticize Donald Trump. And the fact is, though, that was the tell. The lack of criticism by Ramaswamy and the nothing but criticism of Christie were totally out in left field. It's not the sort of strategy that you expect from a sane candidate. And I do think that both of them still do have egotistical desire to be in political office. I just said, I think that the roles are technically an inversion of reality. And that is that Christie is effectively draining the muster, especially of Ron DeSantis, who poses as the MAGA minus Trump candidate. So Christie says, no, it's not enough to be anti-Trump. You got to be really, really anti-Trump, draining the thunder from him and to an extent Haley, Pence, and others. Whereas Ramaswamy took the opposite approach. First, we'll go to the Truth Social post. This is from Donald Trump himself the other day. Vivek started his campaign as a great supporter, the best president in generations, etc. Unfortunately, now all he does is disguise his support in the form of deceitful campaign tricks. Very sly. Where have you heard that term used for Ramaswamy before? But a vote for Vivek is a vote for the other side. Don't get duped by this. Vote for Trump. Don't waste your vote. Vivek is not MAGA. The Biden indictments against his political opponent will never be allowed in this country. They are already beginning to fall. MAGA! Now, why would he point out the Biden indictments? Because that's the whole foil of the Ramaswamy campaign. The whole foil was Trump has been indicted, they're going to railroad him, so we need to elect somebody who will promise to give him a pardon, who will promise. And by the way, to the Ramaswamy fans, and I know there are some of you that watch my channel, some of those are state charges. The President of the United States can't even pardon him on those. If Alvin Bragg goes through with his charade, or the Fulton County case goes through, those aren't federal. Those are state charges. They have nothing to do with federal authority. The President can't come in and pardon. Only a governor would be able to do that. I don't think the governor of New York is unfortunately likely to be Lee Zeldin the next time around, so I think that you'd be wasting your time waiting for their current dear leader to do anything about that. So Trump appearing to basically verify what I think about Ramaswamy. He is a plant. He's giving you effectively all of the hyperbolic MAGA stuff while having been effectively globalist for an extended period of time. He's a corporatist. And that doesn't mean he doesn't have redeeming qualities. I mean, he talks a big game about free speech, although I would point out, Donald Trump's opening campaign message was about internet free speech. I would also point out that we have on-the-job experience for him, so we can go with somebody who's been tested in his presidential role, or somebody who is talking about good things, but there's no political track record, literally none in Ramaswamy's case. Or you can go with Haley. You know exactly how she would govern. Not well. Or DeSantis. You know how he would govern generally. In his case, it's a mixed bag. Still admire him for the Martha's Vineyard thing. Oh boy, was that a fun fucking 48 hours till the white NIMBYist rich people there decided, well, we've had enough diversity for one weekend. It's time for you to go off to the mainland. We don't have room in the church anymore for all of you. That was a good one, Ron. I'll give him credit where credit is due. It was one of the funniest things I've ever fucking seen in my life. Then, the second link in the description. Donald Trump referencing the hot mic moment with Christie. Take a listen at what he says at that timestamp in the description. You can take that link. It starts right off with the hot mic being referenced. Donald Trump says, well, yeah, do you remember that hot mic moment? I don't know whether it was on purpose or not, but, you know, he had a hot mic moment. Hold the goddamn phone. Why would Donald Trump be referencing not being sure whether the hot mic moment was on purpose or not? It's because he knows that it was on purpose, which is the conclusion that I derive from it as well. It fits in perfectly with Christie having been a plant the whole time, in favor of Donald Trump. Some people the other day castigated me for this opinion, said, well, why wouldn't he wait until after Iowa and New Hampshire then? Because, you know, he defend Trump in New Hampshire. He didn't endorse anybody. That's rather telling now, isn't it? If Christie genuinely has TDS that bad, looking at the polls, a sane person would realize Nikki Haley is the only one at this point that has a shot at taking a state at all, and he would have endorsed her. Also, their policies are more in line. Christie's not exactly full-on MAGA. He sort of fits into the Ted Cruz crowd. I think that he and Donald are still reasonably friendly. I think that the TDS was a foil. And it seems to align with everything that's happened over the last 72 hours now, doesn't it? I think that my prediction in the end was true. Christie indeed was a plant. I would be skeptical whether Trump himself was involved. I think it's more Christie looking at the political situation saying, look, and it's self-serving on one end. Here's what I think happened. He looked at Stone and Giuliani and all these other big political figures who would ever back Trump. And he realized something. They tend to be legally persecuted, especially if they continue to have any legal or political ambitions whatsoever. Christie does. He got worried, and so he decided to fool the Uniparty on one end by doing the TDS thing while effectively working in nothing more than a cudgel against other candidates to knock him out of the way. He doesn't need to be in for the voting in New Hampshire as long as he doesn't endorse anyone, because his vote gets split. And Trump is still far enough ahead that it's not really that much of a threat from Nikki Haley, especially when I still think she probably comes in third in Iowa. I'll be talking about the final Iowa poll later. So Donald Trump apparently came to the same conclusions that I did with regards to these two particular candidates. The first he's stating explicitly. In the second case, it's more of an insinuation. Can you think of any other reason under the sun why Donald Trump would haphazardly and randomly say, well, I'm not sure if the hot mic moment was intentional or not? Under what other auspices would he even conceive of that? That would be my question. The writing is on the wall. Thank you, Donald. Real cool. Great 24-hour period for Clankton predictions, by the way. That's about all. Peace out.